MCP videos usually list servers and then stop. That is not enough. This video builds a practical coding agent stack and asks which servers actually help. The goal is not to install every shiny server on the internet. The goal is to give a coding agent the tools it needs for a real workflow: read files, inspect Git state, fetch docs, use GitHub context, remember project facts, query local data, and run browser QA when the task needs UI proof. Anything else is noise until proven useful. The source capture in this video is the actual GitHub repo, not a stock mockup. At capture time, modelcontextprotocol/servers showed about 84,583 stars, about 10,512 forks, and the public description was Model Context Protocol servers. One useful README line is AWS KB retrieval. https://github.com/model-context-protocol/servers-archived/tree/main/src/aws-retrieval-server ***. Retrieval from AWS knowledge base using Bedrock Agent Runtime. MCP is huge because it turns external tools into a common interface for agents. The official server's repo, the protocol docs, and the broader ecosystem all point in the same direction. Coding agents are becoming tool routers. But the channel's previous generic MCP videos were weak. That tells us the framing has to change. This is not what is MCP. This is here is the stack I would actually keep for coding work. The practical stack starts with file system, Git, GitHub, memory, fetch, SQLite, Postgres, browser or Playwright, team messaging, and a deliberate demo-only bucket. File system gives local repo access. Git gives diffs and history. GitHub gives issues and pull requests. Memory keeps durable project facts. Fetch pulls official docs. Databases help debug real app state. Browser tools verify UI. Messaging is useful only after approval. Demo servers are for learning, not production config. The install details matter because MCP breaks when people copy random JSON without understanding where it goes. Claude Code has its own MCP configuration path. Codex has an MCP command and config surface. Other clients have their own locations. The principle is the same: name the server, define the command, pass arguments, and restrict dangerous access. For file system, that means allowed directories, not the whole machine. For GitHub, that means scoped auth. For database servers, that means read-only credentials when possible. The real workflow is a small coding task. The agent reads the repo with file system, checks git diff, fetches official docs for the library involved, uses GitHub context if an issue exists, writes a patch, runs tests, and then uses browser QA if the task touches UI. That sequence is what MCP is for. It is not a server collection hobby. It is a way to reduce copy-paste and make agents act with better context while still leaving the human in charge of approvals. The keep list is boring and powerful. File system, Git, GitHub, fetch, memory, and browser QA are worth keeping for many coding workflows. SQLite or Postgres are situational but valuable when debugging data-heavy apps. Messaging tools are situational and should not auto-post without explicit approval. Demo servers, novelty wrappers, and broad machine control tools should stay out of serious coding configs until there is a real need. More servers can make an agent worse if it spends time choosing tools instead of solving the task. The safety rule is simple: MCP expands the blast radius. A file system server can expose private files. A GitHub server can change issues or PRs. A database server can expose customer data. A browser server can click things. That does not mean MCP is bad. It means each server needs scope, permissions, and a reason to exist. The channel should say this clearly because trust is a competitive advantage. Viewers are tired of tutorials that paste giant configs and never discuss risk. The checklist is the practical takeaway. 1. Start with file system restricted to one repo. 2. Add Git. 3. Add fetch for official docs. 4. Add GitHub if you work in issues or PRs. 5. Add memory for durable project notes. 6. Add browser QA only when you need UI verification. 7. Add database servers with read-only access. 8. Remove demo servers after testing. 9. Run one real coding task. 10. Delete anything the task did not use. That is how you keep MCP useful. Verdict: MCP can still work for the channel if we stop making generic explainers. The winning video is a stack build with install commands, config locations, one real workflow, and a ruthless keep or drop section. That gives viewers a reason to save the video, not just watch it once. Search demand is there. The video has to earn it with a practical setup people can copy. A useful MCP video should show config shape without exposing secrets. File system gets a command and allowed directories. Git points at the local repo. GitHub reads a token from the environment or a secret provider, not from the video description. Fetch needs no private credentials for public docs. Database servers should use read-only credentials in development, never production admin access. The key lesson is that MCP configuration is infrastructure. Treat it with the same caution as you treat deployment config. Claude Code and Codex may expose MCP setup differently, but the mental model is the same. You register a server name, a command, arguments, and environment. Then you verify the agent can call the tool on a harmless task before using it on real work. For Claude Code, MCP often shows up as part of the developer workflow around repos and docs. For Codex, the MCP command and config path matter. The video does not need to pretend the two clients are identical. It should show the shared principle and call out the client-specific surface. The real workflow is where the stack proves itself. Imagine an issue says a settings page fails on save. The agent reads files through file system, checks Git history for recent changes, fetches official docs for the form library, uses browser QA to reproduce the UI problem, writes a patch, runs tests, and opens a GitHub draft PR summary. That workflow uses multiple servers for a reason. If a server does not help this kind of task, it does not belong in the default stack. Trimming is what separates a professional setup from an MCP junk drawer. After the workflow, remove anything unused. If messaging was not needed, disable it. If database access was not needed, keep it out. If a demo server only proved the client works, delete it. The more tools an agent has, the more chances it has to choose the wrong one or expose something unnecessarily. The best MCP setup is not the biggest setup. It is the smallest stack that gives the agent the context and actions needed for the work. The packaging has to fight MCP fatigue. A lot of viewers have already seen protocol explainers. They need a stack they can copy and a reason to remove bad servers. The first 30 seconds should show the final server list and the keep or drop verdict. Then the video can explain install commands and config locations. The retention path is why generic MCP lists are useless, the 10-server stack, exact config principles, one real coding workflow, which servers to keep, which servers to delete, and the safety model. The thumbnail should show a real config file, an MCP server list, and the text MCP stack that works. The video should not claim every server is essential. The trust comes from being ruthless. If a server does not help the coding workflow, it gets cut. MCP troubleshooting is mostly config hygiene. If a server does not appear, check the command path. If it starts and then exits, run the command manually in a terminal. If the agent can see the server but tool calls fail, check arguments and permissions. If file system access is empty, the allowed directory is probably wrong. If GitHub calls fail, the token is missing or scoped incorrectly. If database calls fail, test the connection string outside the agent, but never paste secrets into a video or markdown. If the agent has too many similar tools, remove overlap. The best debugging move is to add one server at a time and verify it with a harmless read-only action before adding the next one. The buyer guide for MCP is ruthless. Beginners should start with file system, Git, and fetch. Active GitHub teams should add GitHub after they understand permissions. Teams with long-running projects should add memory, but keep it curated. Full-stack developers should add a database server only in development and preferably read-only. Front-end teams should add browser QA when they need visual verification. Everyone should delete demo servers after learning. If a server does not make a real task faster, safer, or more verifiable, it should not be in the default config. That simple rule keeps MCP from turning into another bloated plugin folder. The comment-worthy mistakes section is also useful for MCP. Ask viewers which server broke, which client they use, and which config path confused them. MCP problems are often tiny path or permission issues, but they feel impossible when a viewer is alone. Turning those comments into follow-up fixes gives the channel a durable tutorial lane. The video should invite specific debugging comments, not generic engagement bait. Good comments are, my file system server shows no files, my GitHub auth fails, Codex cannot see the MCP server, Claude Code starts the server, but the tool call fails. Those comments become future search-driven videos.